Ooh, do 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 do. You not ready for this? Oh yeah. Okay, let's talk about Space Jam. Now I saw the first one. I mean the second one already. New Legacy, or now people call it the new shit. These people are funny. So anyway, Space Jam for me, holds a special place in my heart. Is I think it was actually one of my first VHS tapes that I rewatched so much to the point I broke it. Then Pete the Dragon was number two. But you get the point. It was one of my favorite VHS tapes. Like every house I went to, like all my buddies, they had this. They had the DVD. They had the VHS tape. It was a Space Jam, The Little Rascals, Aladdin, or like some of those other movies. These were the ones for if you were growing up in the '90s. If you didn't have Space Jam on that VHS stand or whatever you guys had, then you were the kid. But this one definitely was. This was actually one of my favorites. I love the film. I love it. And to me, Space Jam holds a higher standards with me. So I was really hoping Space Jam 2 to not. I knew they weren't going to reach it because of some stuff that were coming out, and also the fact that different time, so that things they did back in the day they can't do no more, new restrictions. So I said, okay, it'll be either mediocre at best. It didn't even get to mediocre; it was just bad. Um, but this film right here, I like how the setup is to the Looney Tunes going for Michael. Now, see, I said it earlier in the other video. I think was why Michael needed to be in Space Jam 2. So in this film, the Looney Tunes go out and look for Michael because they need his help. Because at first, the Monstars they come down and for and they Monstars are ordered to bring the Looney Tunes back to their planet because the boss wants some more attractions to their home, to I guess the carnival or amusement park. And the Monstars are ordered to do that, and they're like, well, Bugs and them and all the Loons are like, oh, hold up, you can't be doing that. We have to play a game to for our lives. And they were like, okay, you know how the Looney Tunes are. They make it all their own rules up. And then they thought about it and said, oh, give us a minute. So they looked at them. They're like, wait a minute. These motherfuckers are short. They can't dribble. They can't do nothing. They can barely reach their stomach hits their shoes. I was like laughing my tail off when they were saying this, but it's the truth. And they said, "Well, let's play basketball." Now, see, in Space Jam 2, Don Cheadle's character, the algorithm, straight up said, "Let's play basketball." Why are you telling LeBron James, who is one of the greatest basketball players of all time, to one of the greatest basketball players of all time, not the question, one of the, not the greatest, but one of them, of to play basketball, knowing that him playing golf, you could probably win that. But see, in this one, it made sense why they got Michael. It made sense to why they did basketball because they did it because the Monstars were shaped in a way they couldn't play basketball, and that makes sense. There was logic put in there. I don't need logic in these type of kids films, but when you give me logic and I rewatch this years later, I'm like, oh shit, that actually makes sense. Now I know why y'all did basketball because the way the motherfuckers look. Now, granted, when they came back, they all are buffed up because they got the skills and the body traits of the basketball players when they took their I guess their skills or essence or whatever. Makes sense. And that's why they got Michael. So they need one of the greatest basketball players of all time, which is Michael Jordan, to help them beat the Monstars. And see key details like that I look for in films. You give me something and I can understand it and make sense to it, I'll roll with it. In New Legacy, it didn't make sense because why is a algorithm saying, "Oh, King James, yeah, King James, you gonna beat me at basketball?" Saying, "Well, I'm an algorithm, I can't lose." Granted, if you can't lose or not, but you should be smart enough to say, you know what? He can't play basketball. Granted, he's one of the best players out there today, and probably one of the greatest players next to Jordan currently. So why would I want him to play basketball when I can have him play soccer, golf? Hell, I could get his ass whooped by Serena Williams in tennis. Like, see, when I see stuff like that, it assaults my intelligence. I'm like, come on now, you could have done better. You just making this film now because I mean, you can tell the Space Jam film was an accident. It was made because of, from what I was told and from what I was read when I was reading online, was because they did a commercial. And some guys are like, all right, we'll make it work. And I guess they sat around and said, well, let's not make it about Jordan. Let's make it about the Looney Tunes, which they did. And let's make it about them getting Jordan instead of Jordan getting them, which will make more logical sense, which it did. All of it makes sense. And when I look for stuff, when stuff makes sense, you got me. Because automatically, when I rewatched that and I saw that, that already got a better score than that. I mean, arguably, the score for me is a 7 out of 10. The other one was like a 5 or a 4. This film is a 7 out of 10 because you gave me logic. And it makes sense to the story. Other than the line, like the cheesiness in the lines, which is fine as Looney Tunes, it needs to be cheesy. The music is the music too. The biggest issue that the News Legacy has is the music sucks, and it's current music. And again, they're probably trying to be hip for the kids today, but in a way, it's like, okay, you're making Space Jam. Space Jam should be for not just the new kids, but for the old kids, because the old people are going to see it. Myself included, because I grew up with Space Jam. You should do, okay, you know what? Let's add some, not R. Kelly, but you can't add him. But Fly Like an Eagle should have been in here. Fly Like an Eagle should have been in here. Fly Like an Eagle should have been here. I can fly. I mean, like, literally, that should have been in here. And Jam. Let's go and Jam. That should have been in here. Those are two staples to Space Jam. If you're a fan, you know it. Those two songs. The soundtrack, by far, is one of the best things of Space Jam. One of the greatest soundtracks to a film. And this is a kid's film, mind you. And I keep saying, I keep telling people, soundtracks can help or break a movie. And it helps this movie a hell of a lot. It gives it way more points than what it needs to. Because the soundtrack, it fits everything. And when you hear these songs, it fits the basketball. When you hear New Legacies, it don't fit the basketball. It just fits to modern hip times. And I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. So, Space Jam arguably gets a 7 out of 10. What saves this film is, what makes it better than its New Legacy is logic, story, which I didn't ask for, but they gave it to me, and I appreciate that. Length. The length was what really hurt New Legacy. This one, not so much because it's short, straight to the point. I move on. I'm done. I'm not dragging. I'm like, okay, when this game is going to be... It was good, and it was entertaining. The game was entertaining. Where the other one was like dragging. It was unique to see some of those designs, but it dragged. When you have a act like that keeps dragging, I don't want to see it no more. I'm ready to wrap this shit up. Hell, I think I fast forward through the last, so I could get done with it, and I don't like that. And the score really did help this. Like, if I'm watching the film and I'm listening to the music and the music come on and I'm dead, I'm stopping and say, wait a minute, what's this song called? Knowing in my head, like, come on now, you should know what this song is, Johnson. You heard it a million times. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And I'm singing with them. That's a good thing. Space Jam will always be remembered for Michael Jordan. It will always be remembered for the Looney Tunes. It will always be remembered for that soundtrack. That soundtrack will always be the test of time of what a soundtrack should be in films, media in general. And that's what I liked. But anyway, guys, as always, like, subscribe. Peace, have a Johnson day. I'll see you guys in the next video. And tell me what you guys thought about Space Jam. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let's be realistic. It's way better than New Legacy. That's all I'm about to say. All right, Johnson out.